What's up, gang? Welcome back to DizDad TV. On today's episode, we're back with another reaction video. We're checking out the Disney Plus and Star Wars series Ahsoka. This is episode 2. If you want to check out my reaction for episode 1 or other Star Wars or Marvel content, any of the videos I could put up on the channel, you can find it all on the homepage and links in the description below as well. Appreciate you guys checking that out. But I'm excited to be back for another episode in this series. Really enjoyed episode 1. If you caught my reaction and review for it, go check that out. But hoping you all did as well. I think coming out of that episode, I have a few questions. Nothing major that was nagging at me, but I think two big things. Obviously, the first episode, we spent a ton of time on the Ahsoka-Sabine relationship and dove a little bit into with just kind of hint. We didn't have a full-out conversation about what happened. Really, it was kind of various things interspersed throughout the episode, giving us some idea of the fracturing of this relationship. Because again, last we saw them in Rebels, they were going off together, and then we see them both in this first episode, and they're very far apart as speaking terms. You know, I think even the first interaction, they don't even look at each other when they're meeting there in Lothal. So again, I'm hoping we dive a little more into that. Again, I don't want this to be like the Ahsoka Sabine show. I do like both those characters for sure, and this is Ahsoka's show. I want to get to other things as well, but I'm really interested in that whole dynamic. Again, Sabine is a Mandalorian, so the whole idea of a Mandalorian Jedi is just very cool. Hope we do get to see her don the Mandalorian gear at some point. We did see, pretty sure that was her helmet we saw in the first episode. And as I mentioned, I think maybe at the end of episode 1, she did wield a dark saber at one point before handing it over to Bo-Katan. And obviously we saw her wield a lightsaber in the last episode. So it'd be really cool to see some of that again play out. Again, the whole bringing animation to live action, I think, was done really well. Definitely kind of a true continuation with a time jump, true continuation of Rebels, so to speak. And I am curious I mentioned as well in the last, the first episode, those of you who didn't watch Rebels, where are you at mentally right now? Do you feel lost? Hopefully you don't. We did get some recaps, maybe not as many as we probably could have used. Maybe we'll get some more. I think the stage was set. They didn't dive too much into Rebels lore. I don't think that you would be lost. There were some nice little Easter eggs here and there, things that Rebels fans will recognize. It's been a few years since I've seen Rebels, but there's enough there that I could still pick up on it. So it was good to see a lot of that. And I think really the biggest question doesn't even tie to the episode, but I hope we don't fall off a cliff. I think I used the same terms in the last reaction, but I don't think episode 1 has been an issue for Disney Plus with these Star Wars and Marvel shows. I feel like even maybe the first 2 episodes in most cases have been pretty solid, but I'm hoping that continues. But I'm hoping this one does just not take a nosedive. I think there's going to be 8 episodes of this series. I'm hoping that's enough. I don't think it'll be too many just based on what we know the story is probably going to be. There's probably going to be some twists and turns we're not expecting, but I'm hoping they can fit this where it doesn't feel like we're crunching too much into these 8 episodes trying to get it all in. I don't think maybe it'll be dragged out, but I hope there's enough story-wise, there's some meat to the bone, so to speak, that this all flows nicely, doesn't feel rushed. I mean, obviously, the selfish side of me would love to see more than 8 episodes. A 12-episode season like Andor, for instance. I'd love to see kind of that if there's a story for it. We don't know where this is entirely going to go. Obviously, we know Thrawn and Ezra are kind of a key things of this season, but there's probably something else out there that we're not expecting just yet. And of course, assuming it's still on the table, there is long-term plans to bring this to the big screen. With the Mandalorian characters, Boba Fett probably as well. So there's probably going to be something beyond this season of Ahsoka that's got to lead into all of that too. So again, I hope we can continue the good vibes from episode 1. I really enjoyed it. I just want to keep getting into it and hoping they don't let us down. I think that's my biggest fear with this series, that we'll get let down. I know Dave Filoni's going to put everything he's got into this. And again, I think we saw that, the love and care in episode 1. And I just hope we see that the rest of this season. All that being said, let's just go ahead and check out episode 2 of Ahsoka. Yeah, we knew she wasn't going anywhere, didn't we?
That's too bad.
I always thought that would be a bit unnerving that somebody could sense your thoughts, or dreams in this case.
You don't understand. I unlocked it. There were 2 galaxies, and then a pathway appeared between them.
I don't think I realized that was 2 galaxies.
You need my help.
No. You've done enough.
So was that like a shot across the bow, or like, no, you've done enough to get us here, or was that a no, you've done enough? It's hard to tell with Ahsoka. She's very stoic, at least the way Rosario Dawson's playing her. Of course, she's much older at this point compared to, when we saw her in Clone Wars as a youngling or a young Padawan. Rebels, she was more of adult age. Where are we at? Yeah, I love all the foreboding music. That was even a key part of the first episode. The music was right in line. It was perfect for everything that was taking place on screen. Neat trick.
Tell I believe we have located the reflex point on Cetos.
Cetos. Interesting. So that was the star map. I guess that's going to help them locate Thrawn in some fashion.
That's too bad.
It's pretty cool. She can sense everything that took place there, physically and verbally. Love to take a ride on that thing. Again, the Loth Cats look great. They did a really nice job with those. Yeah, they smashed up everything, didn't they? It's weird it's not going back inside. Oh! Oh, that's the one she shot the foot off. It was hanging around.
We're still here.
She knew. Very smart. She asked how many there were, and there was 2. And they obviously saw the one leave with the apprentice. So she just assumed the one was left behind.
Like me, this kind of droid is incredibly resilient.
She's in her element now.
And what happens if you get the power levels wrong?
The head will explode.
Explode? Perhaps we should perform this operation somewhere else.
I say go for it.
Because you're a hologram.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Here we go.
Here we go, indeed. No pressure. The bottom part of that looks like one of those old handheld football games, like 8-bit football games from like the 70s and 80s. I don't know if you guys remember those. My dad had one of those. Cutting it close. He wasn't messing around.
This droid came here from Corellia.
Ah. Solo's old stomping grounds.
Her Imperial operation should have been dismantled after the rebellion.
Sounds ominous.
Let's get going.
No, you need to recover.
I'm fine.
No, but you've done enough, remember?
I haven't seen her in years, and the first thing I do goes sideways.
You're both difficult. I always thought that made it work.
Until it didn't. You heard her. She doesn't want my help.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, she does. We all do. Alright, what's going to happen with her here now?
This place was not built by the Jedi. Whose work is it?
An ancient people from a distant galaxy. Would you like to see it?
I would. We're going to see some witchcraft. Alright, there's our star map. Or the start of it. I am still curious. Was this covered in the last episode? how his whereabouts ended up on a star map like this. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Is that Purgle? Do you see him on the... That is.
That is our destination.
Oh, wow.
Pathway to Peridia.
Some call it that.
The children of the Jedi Temple call it that. It comes from old stories, fairy tales.
Tales which are based on truths.
Which is usually the case, right?
Thrawn calls to me. Across time and space.
Interesting. It makes sense now. It's very cool if we're going to another galaxy. But seeing the Purgle there, we saw them in Rebels, and then they were in last season of Mandalorian when they were in hyperspace, and Grogu saw them. I don't know if you guys remember that. But it would make sense because the Purgle, if I remember right, you see them in hyperspace, but they travel between galaxies.
The Eye of Sion is on its way here. Make sure that everything is ready for its arrival.
The Eye of Sion. What might that be?
What happens when we find Thrawn?
For some, war. For others, a new beginning.
It's one way of putting it.
And for us?
Power. Such as you've never dreamed.
Alright, so we have an idea of what his motivation is.
Go to Corellia. Assist Marok with the final transport.
Alright. Looks like we're going to have a meet up on Corellia, aren't we? Yeah, just the scale of this place. It's huge. Is that the Phantom? Yeah, I think that is. We got to see the ghost, I'm sure, at some point, but that's the Phantom. I'm almost positive.
All Imperial assets were dissolved and redistributed, including those held by Morgan Elsbeth.
All the same, we'd appreciate a look at her former facilities and operations.
Don't think they're convinced.
I could make this a more formal inspection if you'd like.
That won't be necessary, General.
He didn't like the sound of that, did he? He paused and gave him the look. It's like, I think I'll show you guys around. Oh, it's Chopper!
An empire doesn't just become a republic overnight. You will still find ex-Imperials at every level of the new Republic government.
Yeah, we touched on some of this in Mandalorian, the whole struggle of the New Republic, and what do you do with all these people that were part of the Empire?
I'm a businessman, General. My loyalty is to my investors.
Real stand-up guy.
Looks like connecting with Sabine paid off. Until she lost the map. She got us here.
What are you getting at?
She's a bit salty, isn't she?
I was wondering if you would consider bringing her back on as your apprentice.
There it is.
What makes someone ready?
You just know. So do they.
You just know. There's no right or wrong answer there, is there? Oh, look at that. The hole's gone.
I heard your repairs were complete.
He's been great for comic relief, hasn't he?
Ezra's lightsaber.
True, he constructed it. You have since made your own modifications, so it is now your lightsaber.
Interesting, because Ezra's lightsaber, if you saw Rebels, he had a blaster attached to it, which that obviously does not now.
She quit on me.
The past is the past. Move forward.
Keep moving forward.
If you could have unlocked the map yourself, would Ahsoka have come here?
Irrelevant. General Syndulla thought your insights would be valuable, and Lady Tano agreed.
It's very diplomatic of him.
Forgot how annoying you are.
Logical.
had the talent, the abilities. Not like Ezra.
That much is true.
Wow.
I have known many Padawans over the centuries, and I can safely say your aptitude for the Force would fall short of them all.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. That's kind of a low blow. Of all the Padawans, you were the worst. That is one thing Star Wars has always been good at, is the droids and personalities. Even in the not so great films, you've always got a droid that can really give a lot to a scene, and fantastic so far in this first episode plus.
The New Republic Defense Fleet isn't building anything that big. What class of starship are they for?
Let's see.
He's caught a little off guard, isn't he?
Oh, there it is. Classified.
That's one way to get out of telling anything.
Well, then I'm authorizing it.
I'm not sure you can.
Want to bet?
That's convenient.
No HK class?
Assassin droid. I should think not.
I should hope not. Yeah, we saw how well that went in Mandalorian, didn't we?
An HK-class droid recently prevented me from completing this task.
When was this?
5 rotations ago.
Ominous.
Where is this droid now?
I believe it is departing on that transport.
Stop that ship.
Yeah, stop that ship. Ooh. Are they all with the Empire? Apparently so.
Get the Phantom. Right.
Yeah, that was the Phantom. Knew it. Nice. She could always make an exit. She gonna catch it? Is that an Inquisitor? Oh, we're gonna get to see Hera pilot. Saw a lot of this in the animated series. Oh, this is beautiful. You hear the music in the background? The cape goes blowing off. Yeah, I'm trying to look at that saber. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's an Inquisitor saber. You can see the handle. I thought they were gone by the time of New Hope, right? I assume that's an Inquisitor anyway.
CT-05, return to port.
I take that as a no. Chopper. Chopper was definitely a highlight of the Rebels series. Oof. There you go. Using him for a shield. Nice. That was great. Oh yeah. Did you see that? This is so good. Getting to see Hera pilot in live action. Chopper going nuts.
And don't miss this time.
Chopper. I almost feel like you understand him better than you could in the show. Is that just me? Ooh, nice.
No, I did not go through your stuff.
You could tell he said, "Did you get through my stuff?" Found it. Oh, there goes the spin. Oh. Oh, his ride. That was his ride signaling him. Whoa. Oh, that was pretty cool. See her running through that. Whoa. Oh, God. She just... They're getting quite a collection of folks on their side.
Get ready.
Let's go, Chopper. Nailed it.
You got him.
He just flexed.
then.
That was a cool scene, the back and forth space battle, not really a battle, but the chase, and then the lightsaber battle there in Corellia. Is this our Mandalorian gear? Yeah. She's got it all back on, but the helmet, doesn't she? Is she gonna cut her hair? Just like that. I think I brought it up last episode at the very beginning. Kind of the Mandalorian had been using a lot of the Western, even a little bit of the samurai, but we've seen a lot in these first two episodes, even just this episode in particular. That scene with her there kneeling down, and then even the battle with the Inquisitor character.
I'm ready.
There you go. Let's get this party started. She's going to see the mural, isn't she? Yeah. Ezra. There's Loth Wolves in that mural as well. I assume we're done with Lothal for a while, but it would have been pretty cool to see them. She did a nice job with the haircut, too. Considering she used a knife.
Nice haircut. Take us out, Padawan.
Yeah. Got a glance. Is that a hint at a smile we saw there with Ahsoka? That was a good moment. What is that? Are they attaching the hyperspace drive to it? Oh, this makes sense.
Installation of the final hyperdrive has begun.
Yeah.
Her presence in the Force is elusive. Yet her determination is vivid.
Yeah, it is.
To kill her would be a shame. There are so few Jedi left.
Is that a bit of remorse there?
Truth.
I wonder if he and Ahsoka knew each other prior to all this. I think he obviously knows a lot about her, but... Is that it? Ah. Another good episode. No complaints again. And I said there it makes sense. I didn't want to dive too much into it, but the hyperspace drive that they took there from Corellia. And if you guys saw Clone Wars, I think we even saw that in Attack of the Clones. Saw it quite frequently with Obi-Wan and Anakin. The ships they would, the one-man ships they would take out into space, but they had these little hyperspace portals, on a much smaller scale for small ships because they didn't have hyperdrives to get them to other parts of the galaxy faster because they couldn't get there. And again, we saw it quite frequently in the Clone Wars animated series. And I think even Attack of the Clones, I'll have somebody correct me if it wasn't Attack of the Clones, but I feel like we saw it during that same time period. But it looks like they're building a giant version of that, which makes sense. Well, they had other hyperspace drives there they had used to plug into it. And if, from earlier in the episode, is it Cetos they were on, and she had the map, and we know Thrawn is in another galaxy, and you don't just fly off to another galaxy. So it looks like they're put this Eye of Sion, I think is what they called it. They're making some kind of giant hyperspace. I don't know if they have a big ship that they're trying to put into hyperspace to get to. I guess that's how it works. And again, we saw even when they were on Cetos, she brought up that map. They're in those ruins there, and you saw the Purrgil, the space whales, for lack of a better term, which we saw in Rebels, and we saw, I think this was one episode of Mandalorian in season 3. The hyperspace creatures that I'm pretty sure they don't just exist in this galaxy; they travel between galaxies, if my Star Wars lore is correct. So that all kind of ties together. Them building this, and again, I don't know what kind of ship they're looking to take with that portal. but that totally lines up, and again, how Thrawn and likely Ezra ended up in another galaxy is kind of wild. I guess that'll be left to be explained. It looks like Morgan is communicating with him telepathically somehow. She is a witch, so I guess she's got that ability. But again, I'm still a little curious with the star map, how his location ended up on that little star map. But maybe I just totally missed the ball on that. But it's a good episode, really good episode. A lot of really interesting things. I don't know if I mentioned it was coming on, but it's the kind of the cast of characters that are going to look help for Thrawn. So we've got a witch, we've got a former Jedi, and his apprentice. Now I don't know what you would call him, but Force wielder again. I don't think he would necessarily be a Sith at this point. And now we've got what looks like an Inquisitor. It was definitely an Inquisitor blade, and just kind of the whole makeup looked like an Inquisitor, which again, I thought most of them or all of them were gone, I think, by at least the time of the New Hope, because once Vader was kind of fully entrenched, I know they were used initially between episodes 3 and 4, but I didn't think there was any Inquisitors left at this point. Obviously, this is years after New Hope and even Empire Strikes Back and all that, but I thought they were long since done with the Inquisitors. So super interesting to see that character. Obviously, got to learn more about who or what that is in future episodes. The whole event on Corellia was super cool. We got to see, again, if you haven't seen Rebels, some of that, it wasn't a cool moment for you, an aha moment. But if you did watch Rebels, seeing the Phantom, which is like this little detachable ship that hooks into the Ghost, which is like the main ship that the Rebel crew used from Rebels, which got to see Ghost at some point in this series. But that was cool to see that. Chopper, we got another Rebels character in this episode. So now at this point, we've just got Zeb, we did meet in Mandalorian season 3, just again briefly, and then Ezra is pretty much it at this point. We even had a few extra, like I'm pretty sure it was Ryder in last episode. The other Rebels character, died off in the first, back in season 4 Rebels, so we know we're not going to see him. Maybe as a voice or a flashback, maybe we'll get something like that at some point. But we almost got our entire Rebels crew together here, or at least in this series. So lots of cool moments. And again, the battle sequence there on Corellia, even the flight chase there in Corellia, it was super cool. Really nice juxtaposition of seeing those back and forth. Kind of going, even when she first took off and she's looking back, down onto the ground, and she sees you can see the faint lightsaber battle going on. That was kind of a cool shot. But and again, we kind of, I don't know if we got closure on the Ahsoka and Sabine relationship. Obviously, there was kind of a neat moment where she said, Padawan, take us out. I forget the exact verbiage she used, but get us out of here, whatever it might be. That was kind of a cool moment to kind of see that. And even Rosario Dawson has been and Ahsoka in turn has been just very stoic. Always like the arms crossed, very reflective. Not much emotion, which again, much different than how she was as a youngling and what have you. But we saw almost like the little hint of a smile when they would two of them back together. I guess I might have to go back and watch that, but it seemed like she was getting pursed lips there a little bit. So, and we did see Sabine smile a little bit. So, very cool to see that happen. And again, Sabine in her Mandalorian gear. Really looking forward. I hope we see it, because we did see a bit of it in Rebels. We saw Sabine as a Mandalorian, learning some Jedi, wielding the darksaber, some of those tricks, and was even encouraged. I'm trying to think when this was. Again, I don't know the episodes of Rebels and was, but when Kanan and Ezra were working with her, they were even encouraging her to kind of embrace that. I think she would be the first Mandalorian Jedi, or she's been through training, but they encouraged her back then, before she was ever thought about training with Ahsoka, to kind of use the Mandalorian training she had and these new Jedi ways that she was learning. So that would be super cool to kind of see that play itself out. If she gets further along with Ahsoka in this series, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. Everything shot wise, all the sequences, the stories playing out. Again, they're going to probably drag a scene Thrawn out probably a couple more episodes if I had to believe it. They even kind of did that with Mandalorian. If you remember, we were kind of teased something and it took a while to get there, but it makes sense because I don't think you want to jump right into seeing Thrawn. But obviously, now we're 2 episodes into an 8-episode season, so I don't want them to wait till episode 7 either, because I want to see this character on screen, and I don't want to rush through having Thrawn in this series. And again, they're probably, I would have to assume, going to save him, keep him around beyond this season for that climactic movie that they're making. I'd have to believe. So maybe it's not something where we get him until maybe the midway point, and then there's some kind of struggle that happens, but it's not resolved. I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but yeah, 2 episodes. Really happy with what's happened so far. 6 to go. I hope episode 3 can really kind of continue this. And again, we've had a nice mix, I should say. Dialogue, action, story, recapping, learning about some of these characters if you didn't know them very well. And even those that have seen the series, kind of diving more into what's gotten them to this point. Chopper was great. It almost seemed like you'd actually understand him. He wasn't speaking, but I don't remember being able to understand him quite that well during the series. I'll have to go back and watch an episode of Rebels and see if I just misremembered that. But and maybe that was an intentional choice for this, like to make sure you could even though he wasn't verbally saying something, you kind of got an idea he was mumbling or humming what he was saying. So very cool to see Chopper in this episode. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. I know you guys comment down below overall thoughts, impressions of episode 2 of Ahsoka. What you thought really of these first 2 episodes. I think it makes sense. I didn't watch them together, but it makes sense why these were released together. Just kind of the way they built up the Ahsoka Sabine thing. Obviously, the relationship and the dynamic and the story they're going to tell, I'm sure, is probably not over with the 2 of them. But kind of how episode 2 ended, it makes sense to kind of how they package those 2 episodes together. It makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to continuing this series. Have continued high hopes for what lies ahead, and fingers crossed, they can keep it going. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying this half as much as I am. Really liking this episode. But really appreciate you joining me as always. And until next time, I will see you for episode 3 in Ahsoka.